PGA Nation, we are back, and we are back with the Classic, the Zurich Classic, that is, heading to Louisiana, and the PGA Tour decided to have some fun this week. They wanted to have a team event, so we said we'd match them. We're going to have a team draft. We're not going to let the only people in teams that be on the PGA Tour. We're drafting in teams tonight, and we brought in the big guns to join us. If you follow our show, if you follow, you already know who they are. You know Byron, you know Little Kenny. They're drafting a team together against Spencer and I and team audience. It's going to be a fun night. But Byron, it's been a while since we've had you on the show. How are you doing tonight?
Doing terrible, Joel. I hate to kick my friend's ass on live streams, but, it is what it is. We're here for a reason. And, I'm actually doing really good. Thanks for having me on again.
We're pumped to have you on. And Kenny, we super appreciate you coming on. And I'm sorry we had to give you Byron as a teammate tonight, but we appreciate you coming on the draft. How you doing tonight, Kenny?
That's all right, Dean. I got to start with Byron in the JV level, and I'll work my way up to the big leagues eventually. But I appreciate it, man. I appreciate Byron reaching out. Obviously, a big fan of all the work you guys do. I don't think prior to this we'd all ever, other than me and Byron, we've never really connected in the space before. So nice meeting you guys, and I look forward to kicking your asses.
Well, we're definitely going to have a good time.
Yes,
A lot of it was accurate, except for that last part was inaccurate. We're going to prove you wrong tonight. Spence, congratulations on the win last week. Crowned king of the draft. Obviously, you're going to repeat this week as you're partnering with me. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, Joel. I feel like we have opposite chemistry going in than Kenny and Byron, but as a man of the people, I have decided to give the audience the first pick. We are going to go second. Byron and Kenny will go third. So that makes up for anything that may have happened in episode 1 where Joel ended up jumping in front, took Rory McIlroy. So, that's the last time, Joel, that you and I are not going to be seeing eye to eye tonight. It's going to be smooth sailing for us the rest of the way here. But before we get into the course breakdowns and everything of that nature, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about this draft tonight?
I'm going to give a little bit of a background. It is a little bit different because it's a team draft. We'll be drafting 3 teams still. So it'll be Spencer and myself, Kenny and Byron, and then audience. You guys are a group anyway, so you'll be a team. As Spencer mentioned, he gave you the first pick, but I told him before the show, I was kind of like, listen, the audience needs it. You took them down badly last week. They have no chance of competing with us if they don't get the first pick. So I basically told Spencer to give you the first pick because you guys have no chance drafting against us without it. So you guys can thank me. I did you a favor. And because of that, audience, you're on the clock. So start putting your nominations in now. We're going to go through our course breakdown like we normally do, but no reason to wait. You're going first. So anyone who's listening in, if you guys are ready to go, get those nominations in. And here's a recap of how the draft works. So if you're new to the show, make sure you're on YouTube and you can participate in the chat. When the audience drafts, everyone can participate. We're going to draft snake-style teams. We're going to make DraftKings lineups. You have to be able to play your team in a DraftKings tournament, meaning you can't just take all the best golfers. You have to make sure you can actually afford your lineup. And not only that, you can't take the same golfers or players or even teammates that one of us take, right? So, for example, audience takes Rory first. You can't take Shane Lowry because they're the same team. So that whole team will be removed, and you have to draft from a different team. It's snake style, so it's going to be audience, me and Spencer, Byron and Kenny, and then Byron and Kenny will have 2. So you get 2 in a row, and then we'll go back into snake until we all have teams that we can actually play on Sunday. And, of course, at the end of the week, we'll tally the points, and we will crown a king of this draft. Before we get into all that, Spence is going to give us a course breakdown. Spence gives the most in-depth course breakdown each week. It kind of gives you a little idea of what the course layout looks like, what type of golfers should succeed. It's critical you understand the course. You can understand what type of golfers you want to target, where you'll find success in DFS. After the breakdown, we'll head into the draft. Audience, like I said, you are on the clock first. So, Prasad, Kenny, we appreciate you guys. Ken, you guys are in the chat. Start getting those nominations in. You'll need one doubled to lock it in. You have about 2 or 3 minutes before we get to the course breakdown to lock in that first pick. Spence, I'll go over to you. What are you looking for on the course this week in Louisiana?
It's a very tricky week for us. You're going to have 80 teams that are going to be competing this week at TPC Louisiana. Top 33 and ties will get to tee it up for all days. You see play split on Thursday and Saturday with best ball format, alternate shot structure on Friday and Saturday. One of the things in my model with the way I built this, it's tricky because data isn't necessarily the most trackable for this event. I did pre-plug some totals into my DFS rankings wizard model, tried to highlight how each tandem would best succeed from an optimal sense. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to make the right call and alternate shot when that situation arises, but there is a potential advantage to be found when the groups split their alternate shot breakdown correctly. So that's something that we're not going to know is the case there. If you are trying to handicap this from a statistical perspective, over 29% of second shots should come from over 200 yards. That's going to be where the bread and butter is of iron play. But for me, at the end of the day, I would say you get freedom and extra room for aggressiveness during best ball on Thursday and Saturday. And then a lot more of that strategy that I keep mentioning comes into play during alternate shot in round 4 and in round 2. So, we'll talk about some of the strokes gained dispersion importance as we make picks. I'll talk about a little bit more of my insight there, but let's jump into this draft today.
All right. As a final reminder, the way the audience, you guys lock in your pick is you get a nomination like we got Poston Mitchell, Shane Rory, and then when the nomination is seconded, so when a second person mentions the pick, then that is the audience pick locked in. So, Hank, you mentioned posted. Should I assume that's a typo and you meant posted? Because if that's the case, then your pick is locked in. If the first pick is already a controversy and it's off to a rocky start tonight, but it's a questionable one. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that a post-in or a typo?
I think the audience is just hammered because 2 of the 3 comments so
We are off to a rocky start. I don't know what happened there. I brought the draft board up and Byron got muted. Byron thinks it was on purpose. I just didn't want to hear him, but that's not true. I actually do want to hear what you had to say, Byron. So please enlighten us.
I think you're the one that's the most drunk out of all the chat, even, Joel. I was trying to say that there's typos everywhere, yeah, and you out here just muting me and kicking us out of the stream. So, we can only try as hard as we can, but happy to be back on the show. I appreciate that.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I just took an entire bottle of vodka to the face, so yeah, I'm hammered. No, I'm kidding. This is water. That's a joke. We don't drink and draft. That is very dangerous. So back on track. I'm going to lock it in. Hank confirmed it. JT posted, and it's Keith Mitchell. That's the pairing.
Yes.
Yes.
So for the purpose of the draft board, it looks like we can only put one name in. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so posting it is locked in. Audience off the board. I gotta say, audience, huge mistake. What are you doing? You could have had the guy who just won the career Glad Sam, the best player in the world, playing with Shane Lowry. Clearly the best duo. I wanted the first pick to do that. I gave it to you guys thinking I'd give you guys a chance this week. You turned it down. I can't let Lowry and McElroy get past here. Spence, I know we're teammates here, so I got to get your input. But I can't imagine you're going to turn me down on taking Lowry and Rory.
I don't know, Joel. I really don't like it from a roster construction standpoint. One of the things that I did when I was trying to make builds this week is try to find where your value pockets were going to be. And Rory and Lowry have 3 times as much win equity for me in this tournament. They're the only 2 players that are top 10 in my model. There's a lot of strengths behind it. My biggest concern with this, and I'm not going to push back so far against it that I'm not going to go down this direction if this is what you actually want to do. But I worry about a roster construction standpoint where I think that it's going to get very sloppy down beneath. I had 2 teams in the $6,000 section that were top 35 teams for me this week. I don't think there's a ton of playability down there. To me, it's one of those things where there's going to be this sentiment that comes into play that you always get these wild results at this tournament. And it's going to be simple to find that. And while there is some truth to that narrative at the end of the day, and somebody will overachieve their price tag, I think it's going to be hard to find multiple scenarios of it just because it leaves us with 75-20 left. So I'll give you the call here. I would go in a different direction. I would rather have either Hoagie and Horschel or Moore and Clark. Those are my top 2 teams this week that I would like to build around, but I'll give you the ultimate call here, and we can, I'm sure, figure out a way to make this work with Lowry if that's the route we decide to go.
Well, here's the issue. I know Byron and Kenny want Hoagie and Horschel. So I can't, if
We were just bluffing anyway.
we could take the steal, or we could be a good guy. Listen, they're guests on our show. We can make them feel good, let them get their guy. We can take our guy, who I truly deep down believe they're going to repeat. I think Shane and Rory are playing the best golf of anyone. And I think it's just, Rory's got the mojo right now. I think they go out there this week and they repeat. And I think they make the most sense for a team event. Just their style, how long Rory's going to hit it. But I hear your concerns. You did win last week, but I'm going to stick with Shane and Rory for our first pick. I just think that's the duo. I think that's what's going to catapult us to a W. Locking it in. Listen, we're being good hosts to our guests. We're going to let them get their guy now, but they got 2 picks in a row and they're on the clock. So, Spence, I am going to defer to you on the turn here because I stole this pick, but I feel good about where we're starting. I think we're gonna win this draft with this start. So, Byron and Kenny, with your first pick of King of the Draft, you have 2 in a row. Where are you guys gonna go?
I just want to put it out there that Joel has this wonderful butter and poison thing that he does, where he does something good for himself and then tries to make you think it's also good for you. You know, like, so don't get sucked into what Joel Draftmaster Flex does on the show. He's a temperamental witch, I tell you. So Kenny, hit the people with who we're going with. We know who we want.
We're going to keep it simple here. We will be taking the winners of this tournament, and that is Billy Ho and Tom Hoagie. I think you got to do it. Like we were talking a little pre-show. Like I think this tournament is relatively like impossible to handicap. Like I really do. There's just so much luck involved, especially when you get to like the best ball stuff. Like you need guys that just sort of ham and egg it perfectly for things to work out here. So look, give me guys that are in good form, have the ability to get white hot, let Hoagie stuff at the 2 feet every hole, let Billy go make all the putts. And plus two, give me 2 Southern boys. I think Billy won one here when it was still an individual event back in like the early 2010s. So they're going to take this down this week. I bet them outright too. Billy Ho, Tom Hoagie.
It's funny, if there was a 3-man team and they had one more guy whose last name started with H, you guys could be Team Triple H, like WWE. Which we just had WrestleMania, so it'd be like you guys followed through. No, nothing.
Harmon.
All right, there you go. Then you've been Team Triple H. You guys could be the game. It's all about the game. It's how you play. Anyway, you have another pick back to back. Where are you guys going from there?
Byron, all you, baby.
Okay. We're going to say sorry and go with the Canadians, eh? We're a big fan of Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor this week. We think the Canadian chemistry is unlike any. You know, the curriculum up north, the chemistry is just much harder. So once you've graduated there, it's a good thing. And I think we are big believers in what Nick Taylor. It's basically the same thing here. Taylor, you know, doing all the big clutch putting, and then we'll just make sure Adam Hadwin just nuts up for his buddy who's playing some good golf right now.
Well, you guys are certainly drafting for chemistry, team chemistry. Your team's going to get along really well. You got the Canadians, you got Team H's. I like the vibes of your team so far. It's a good start. But I still think we got the best guy with Rory. And Spence, now it's on you. So I stole the first pick, even though you won and you really should have taken the first pick. But I felt really strongly that we should steal Rory Lowry. We got him. I feel good about it. I'm going to defer to you here. You tell us who we're taking with our second pick.
I mean, I just for the record, it's not that I don't feel good about the Rory McIlroy selection. It's hard to argue against him. It's just I double down on the answer that roster construction here is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm going to talk about this openly. I'm going to keep this to one team at a time, Joel, and we can go back and forth on this because I do want to make selections together. I think it makes, for one, a better show to kind of try to hash this out with one another rather than us alternating picks here. But one of the best values I had on the board. So one of the ways I looked at my model this week is I tried to find players of both teammates that were inside of the top 45 for birdie or better percentage in this field. It's mostly the teams that are $8,000 and up. You really only find 2 examples of this that are not that. But One of those teams does land here at 7,500 for me. That's Ryan Gerard and Danny Walker. I think this is a potentially nice spot that we can get a little bit of value on one of the higher rated teams that I had in the $7,000 section. So thoughts about them before we end up going in that direction?
I like Ryan Gerard a lot. I'm not sure I even know who Danny Walker is. So that's my stance. But I'd be in because I like Gerard enough where I'd lock that in as our pick. So Spence, if there's anyone else you wanted to run by me, is when you're considering, fine. But I'd be happy with that pick. Just know we got Gerard.
Let's just keep it at that. We'll save the discussion for later. Then now that we've already laid the cards out on the table.
All right, there you have it. Locked in with Gerard and Danny Walker. Is that who we took?
Yeah,
Johnny Walker.
Danny Walker. All right, Johnny's little brother. I get it. Well, Byron, I'd love to hear from you in a minute. But first, audience, you are back on the clock. Prasad, hey, Ken, we are looking at you guys to lead the charge tonight. You guys have 2 in a row. So you get 2 picks here. We're going to need a lot of nominations. We'll wait for those doubles to come in to make sure both those picks are locked in. You have about $8K per pick on average to spend. As we wait for those nominations, Byron, I want to go back to you. I would love to get your take on the Ryan Gerard and Danny Walker pick. Are you familiar with Danny Walker's game? And are those 2 guys on your radar for this week?
I've bet them outright to win this tournament because like Kenny was talking about hamming and egging it, in South Africa, call it dovetailing, however you want to call it. When it comes to alternate shot, the way this course sets up is there's 3 par 3s that are on the odd holes. So someone's going to hit 8 drives and an approach, and then someone's going to hit 6 drives and 3 approaches. And Ryan Gerard, if they go off in the right order, can do all those long 200-plus yard shots, and he's very good with the long irons. And Danny Walker's a great driver of the golf ball, pathetic with the long irons. Now, all the approach shots for the guy that only takes the 6 drives, most of them are inside 165, 170. So Danny's a bit better in that. I've got them ranked 5th in my model. They're 4th in the alternate shot rankings. Like, I just think they're going to, if things line up perfectly for them, I'm very bullish, and I'm very pissed off that Spencer took them because they're great value, and I think they can make some fireworks. We saw Danny Walker play really good at the Players, as a last man in.
All right, he did. Yeah, what did he give? He gave you a top 10 at the Players. Danny Walker, he was 6th, and he gained a ton of strokes off the tee. So point taken there. I like that pick. Audience, good job locking. Well, not a good job. Poor job, audience. You haven't locked in the pick. There's 1 nomination. Audience, this is a pathetic showing. There's not even 1 pick locked in yet. We're going to need more from you tonight. We'll give you a few more seconds. Otherwise, Kanaya is going to have to be your first pick. We also got to get another one in. So we're looking at you guys. Kenny, Hank, Ken, get those picks in. We need to lock in 2 picks for this turn before we go back to Spencer and I. While we wait for the audience to lock in their first 2 picks, we only have 1 nomination, not even seconded. So Kenny McAndress, Ken Gunter, Hank Byers, we're relying on you guys to come through. If you're saying Nick Taylor, Ken, come on. He's already taken. There's only been like 5 guys taken. We gotta get you guys a squad that can compete this week. You got the first pick. But I want to go to you, Lil Kenny. While we wait for the audience to lock in their pick, I would love to get your take on the audience's first selection of JT Poston. Is he on your radar this week?
Not really. He's playing with Keith Mitchell, right?
Yep.
You know what? I could see it, man. Like I think Mitchell's a perennial loser. Like I've never bet on Keith Mitchell in any event ever, but maybe this is an event for Keith Mitchell. Like the more the cogs are turning, it makes sense. I mean, look, like you go down the board here, like objectively, they're probably one of the top 5 best teams, just on paper in terms of like overall golfing pedigree. So like I could totally see it. I'm not getting there. I will say I weirdly for price alone, it's funny that we're talking about JT Poston. I bet JT Poston to win the PGA today at 500 to 1. So I guess I do have a little bit of JT Poston mojo in me. He has no shot at winning the PGA, but at 500, I was willing to light the money on fire. But no, I will never back Keith Mitchell in any event, in any format, in any planet in our solar system.
You know, it's interesting. I completely agree with you. There's no chance he's going to win the PGA, but it's worth flushing money down the toilet for 500. There's just so much. It's a better lottery ticket than playing random numbers in the lottery. I mean, there's a very small chance. I just didn't say no. There's a very small chance he could play the week of his life and come out with a number there. And 500 to 1 is just a number you don't see. Like, it's just like almost unheard of for a guy who's, not terrible at golf. So I like that number. I like the bet, even though I do think you're going to lose it. I still like the bet. So there you have it, audience locked in. Byron gave you your second pick. Hey, what you got to do? You guys got to show up. So Garrett Higo will be off the clock with the first of the two audience picks. Looked really good in his last outing. Spence, I want to go to you. Higo was playing well. He's playing with Ryan Fox, who has also been an underrated guy. I think it's an interesting team at 8,400. Spence, are you interested in the Higo Fox combination?
I think they're fairly priced where they're at. I don't have a massive take one way or another. But before we move on, I just want to get something settled here because I feel like this has turned into an absolute shit show, Joel. And I don't know what's going on. You've stolen a pick from me at the 102. I just want confirmation. Kenny, is this one your account in here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so you have Kenny double nominating. You have Byron. I mean, we all know he's back 9 bets in there, but I don't know what is going on right now. This is just lost all control.
I was just second. Ken Gunther like Kanaya, and I had to support my guy. The fellow Kens got to stick together, man. It's just what we do.
There's literally like 16 Kens and Kennys here. Byron does a show with Kenny Kim. I'm just lost at this point.
There's 21 people watching right now. You guys need to get it together. We need 21 comments rocking and rolling. I'm looking right at you, not typing. Let's go. Like, I understand it's a Zurich, but this is your time to shine. 21 of you can absolutely take this draft and you can make it your own baby. This is your opportunity to shine, people.
And to Byron's point, your squad is off to a relatively good start. You guys make some good picks on the back end of this draft. I think the audience can come back and get a win, but we're going to need some more picks locked in. Nominations from the audience are not settled. So right now you guys don't have any picks. We're going to have to give you Cantor because, Hank, you don't have any support. So, Hank, you're just going to get the guy you want. I'll give the audience one more round to put another nomination in before we lock in the Cantor duo. While we wait, Kenny, we'll go back to you on this one. Would there be any reason for you this week not to want to play the Rory-Lowry combination?
Plenty of reasons. Yeah.
Okay,
There's a whole lot of reasons to not want to play them. Again, I mentioned it to you guys. I'm more of a sports bettor. I dabble in DFS a little bit. I probably will play some this week. What's their project? Do you guys have ownership projections? What is the ownership projection for Rory and Lowry? I mean, are they going to come in at 50%, or are people going to lay off them because of, well, Rory just won the Masters, he was in Ireland all last week? Are they really going to go back to back? How locked in are they going to be? Like, from a game theory perspective, if you think you're getting somewhat of a fun, somewhat of leverage on the ownership front, maybe you could talk me into it. I would never bet them. They're like plus 350. I wouldn't bet that with your money. But if ownership makes sense, I know that the Spence was worried about some roster construction. Like, I think there's enough junk down the board here. I think anybody below 8,000, there's at least a case to be made. So I think you can get by with them in a lineup. I just don't know if it's worth it if they're going to be 30 to 40% owned. Like, Byron, where are you seeing them coming in at?
That's the thing, man. It's super difficult because of the price. Like, I don't know how popular they're going to be because once you click the 12-4, that's Scotty Scheffler territory, so do people think Shane Lowry's, but when he plays with, I think we can probably be seeing 30%, like the Xander Cantley type stuff that we've seen in the past. Maybe that's a little overboard, but probably a third of the field probably plays them.
That would be my projection also, that I think they're going to be 30% plus.
I do think they'll probably end up north of that by the time they go live. I think they probably will be a little bit more popular. But the style of this, with only 33 teams making the cut or getting through, you're going to need the winner. So, you can get different elsewhere. I'm okay with taking a chalky pick at the top like that and just making sure I find, some differentiate my lineup as I continue to go down the draft. So, all right, audience, you're locked in. Really disappointed in you, audience. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Just the effort overall from the audience was just piss poor from you all. Even if you win, now it's going to be an asterisk next to your win because of how poorly you guys made your picks in this turn. But we're gonna have to lock in. Cantor. I think he was the first nomination. Nothing else came in from there, so that's the only one that the team is interested in. It's an interesting pick, and Kenny, I'm going to go back to you on this one. Is the team of Jordan Smith and Laurie Cantor?
I couldn't tell you a thing about Jordan Smith. Again, and it was a DP World Tour guy. I was confused to even see him in this field to begin with. And look, Cantor's a baller. He got a little bit of press going into the Players because he was the first ex-Live guy to play in the Players. Can't remember how he played at the Masters, but I know the guy's got game. And then Jordan Smith, I feel like I only see him every year at the Scottish and then at the Open. So again, stunned to see him in this field. I couldn't tell you about his recent form. I don't grind the DP World Tour like some other people in here. So I don't know, Byron, you may know a little better than me on Jordan.
I'm trying to think of a PGA comp because I know Jordan Smith has let a lot of DP World Tour outright ticket holders down on a Sunday late. Like from what I understand, the choke jobs that he gets up to are Colin Morikawa with a 7-shot lead in Hawaii-esque type stuff.
He's Keith Mitchell. He's British Keith Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to put it. Potentially a Jordan Spieth type comp as well at the Valspar a couple years ago too. So yeah, Keith Mitchell's a great comp for him.
All right. Well, there you have it. Locked in on the pick. Spence, we're back up here. How do you want to go about this pick? I think we do this. I think if you want to, or I will do, we nominate 3 teams, and then the other person, whoever nominates the 3, the other person picks the one of the 3 nominations.
I mean, can we even afford a pick at this point?
We have plenty of money to spend. What are you so worried? $7,500 to go? There's plenty of options down in that range.
It's really gross. I mean, I guess
I see nothing but gems at the bottom of the board here, man. You gotta it's an attitude problem. You gotta open it up a little bit here. I see nothing but gold under 7,000.
I mean, if you're trying to beat us, that's the exact outlook I would have. I don't know, Joel. I say we just each give a name or two, and then we can figure out where we want to land with it and see if any of them overlap.
All right. We do have to be mindful of salary because we obviously can't go to the very top because of budget. But I'm going to start with the guy that I know we both like, a guy who's been playing really well recently. Actually, I know he was nominated, but he did not come off the board. His partner was nominated, not the guy that we like. And that's Ryo Hisatsune. Only $7K. He's very affordable. His ball striking has been excellent. He's playing with Kanaya. I think they have some upside. If you're looking for a value play in the 7K range, I'm seeing 11% ownership for this range is a little high, but I think it's something that we can stomach. So that'll be my nomination for our pick.
There would probably be a route that I would rather go than this, but I actually say, just for the sake of this show right now, not to shoot ourselves in the foot, they're one of the better values that I have down there in this section. So I have no problems with that pick, Joel. So let's lock that one in, and then we can reassess when we come back around.
All right. So there you go. We got some value off the board. Teams coming around. Byron and Kenny, you're going to have 2 here. But before you guys pick, I'd like to get your take on the Hisatsune pick.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Byron, this is all you, my friend.
Dude, I've been betting Ryo Hisatsune pretty much. I bet him last week. I bet him the week before. Now, he gets himself on camera on a Sunday, so that he can miss every 6-footer he lays his eyes on. It was a disaster class at the Valero. I think he missed 4 very makeable putts on that Sunday and had a chance at really making a run at Harmon. Didn't, but he's flirting, man. He's hanging around the top of leaderboards quite a lot. And this course isn't suited perfectly for bombers or short, accurate dudes. It helps everybody. So I think he's going to be just fine contending on a course like this. I think he's in great form and he's starting to get some confidence going. So I freaking love your roster already, but it's the 12-4. I think the $7,700 you have left now is going to be the fun part.
Well, I think what's really interesting about that, to your point, is we have 7,700. The audience has 7,800. You guys have 8. So we're all in that same range, competing over the same teams. We should make the second half of this draft super interesting and competitive. But you guys got 2 here, so you're up. Let us know where you're going with your next 2 picks.
We are all about the chemistry here. So first, we're going with actually I think both of our pairs here have at least a year or 2 of experience playing this event together. I mean, I do think that matters, right? Like, I feel like on certain events, you look at course history, depending on where course history is sticky, if you will. I feel like for this, it's just like, give me somebody that's at least played in this event before, since it's become a 2-man team format. And even better if they've played together before. So both these guys have played together before. Give us Max Grazerman, Nico Echeverria. This is the ham and egg special. These guys are either going to finish DFL or they are going to ship this thing. And I think for an outright bet, I think these guys are probably worth a click. Let Grazerman just rip bombs off the tee. Let Nico stuff all the irons. Let Nico take all the par 3s. Nico's one of the best par 3 players on tour. I feel like this guy is just, with a long iron in his hand, he is just a savant. He's just a terrible driver of the golf ball. So give him Max Grazerman for drives and putts and let him do all the work in between. I think these guys are very live this week.
Very live.
I like the pick. And Ken Gunter likes it too because he nominated Grazerman in the chat. He's gone. I'm with you. I think they're very live. Byron, you're happy with your teammate selection.
Oh, yeah. The Grazerman combo there is going to be amazing. I think, that's just going to slide up and down the leaderboard like no one's business. But we're going to go with our next guy, the Hardy Boys. Defending champs from 2 years ago. Got their big breakthrough. Davis Riley's the Scotty Scheffler tamer. I think Davis Riley, Nick Hardy, they've done this. They've done this thing. We know what we're getting from them. Very affordable. We backed it now, almost $8,000 remaining salary, $7,200 for those 2 pedigreed individuals around TPC Louisiana. Let's not undersell these people's caliber at this golf course.
This is the event that helps Nick Hardy keep his tour card year after year. Like this is, and like, dude, I for this event, I like the grinders that probably have a couple events marked on their calendar. Like this is where I get some FedEx Cup points, and this is how I stay on the PGA Tour. And again, their win in 2023 is what kept them both alive. Then I know Riley ended up shipping it at a Colonial, but dude, I love this. I bet these guys at 110-1. They're best friends. They play this event every year. They always play well together whenever they're randomly paired in a tournament as well. This is their Masters.
Yes, it is. And Davis Riley's playing some good golf again.
Yes,
like if you think about, he at the Masters scored like 10 or 15 shots better than he did at the Century Tournament Champions at Kapalua. Like that just shows you how far his game has come. Like he outplayed himself at the Masters compared to the TOC. So he's made a massive rejuvenation of his game. So I think there's good things to come for old Davis Riley this week.
I agree. Davis Riley's in that category of golfer who he clearly fell off for some time, but we've seen what his ceiling is. And there's no reason why he can't reach his ceiling again, which is well above average golfer. And he's starting to play like that right now. We've seen some consistency this year. The best golf we've seen him in a few years. So at 7,200, I think there's a lot of upside there. I think that's a really solid pick. I like the way your squad's coming around. So great start for the Kenny and Byron squad. Spence, we're back up here. Would love to get your take on Grazerman and Riley. And then I'm going to let you lead this pick. I kind of feel like I led the Rio pick, so it's going to be your turn here. But before we go, I'm going to go back to the audience. And audience, you guys are going to be up again with 2 after we go here. Start getting your nominations gathered and ready to go because you're going to have 2 in a row, so we're going to need them in. Ken and Hank, I'm leaning on you guys to lead the charge on making sure these nominations get in. You guys have 2 solid picks that you can afford. But for now, Spence, what are we thinking?
Really quickly on the Grazerman and Echeverria pick. So one of the things that I do in my model every single week doesn't necessarily mean that this is the most likely person to win. I always try to preface it with that. But I try to figure out what type of a profile, specifically here for a team. It's usually for an individual. But what profile is most equated to who ends up winning the golf tournament? And I was very surprised to see that Grazerman and Echeverria had the most prototypical profile of teammates that have won this tournament in the past. So I think they have a massive ceiling that they could put together. So I really like that pick from Kenny and Byron. For our pick,
Before you make this pick, Spence, I will just note we are having an R first name chemistry thing going on. As all our picks first names start with R. So if you want to keep that theme, it could be a good strategy. But just putting that out there. So as you were.
unfortunately, all the teams that I was going to throw out, none of them fit that right now. If you have anybody that you want to throw out there that you have, I mean, we could consider it. What I would recommend at this point, and the team that I would like to throw out there, I think they're a really nice pairing with one another, would be Doug Gim and Chan Kim.
The Gim Kim connection. I can't. You can't. I don't think anyone can go wrong with the Gim Kim connection. The ball Schreck is going to be off the chart. I would say though, they're probably the opposite of what you would want from a yin and yang perspective. It's just going to be we're just going to ball strike and no one needs to make any putts here. We're just going to hit the ball near the pin and that's going to be our whole game plan. But that could work. I think from a talented of golfer standpoint, I think it's a good value for what they're priced at. So. I'm down for that pick. Did you have an alternate you were considering, or is that the only option you were sticking with?
I have a couple. I don't know. I mean, if we're going to go down this direction, unless you're completely opposed, I'd rather keep them in our back pocket right now, and we can discuss it as we move further.
Oh, you have something you're saving for later.
Saving a gem.
There's still two teams. Like I'm gonna just keep saying this. As long as we can not get ourselves into the $6,000 range. I do agree with what Kenny was talking about. There are gems to be found in this $7,000 section. I just have more concerns about, there's 2 or 3 names in the sixes. I'm just not trying to live down there. So if we can kind of border this between the 7,000 to, 8,000 and something range, I do think we can round this out very nicely.
Yeah, well, we're well on our way there. And I think the Gim Kim connection helps us do that. So let's lock that in. I like the way this squad is coming across. Audience, Hank, Ken, we need you guys. Nominations, get them in. It looks like Hank put out Ventura. You guys need 2, so keep the nominations coming because you need to lock in 2 picks here. Ken, you guys put a few nominations. We can lean on those, but let's make sure you guys get who you want while we wait on you guys. Byron, I want to go back to you here. Are you interested in the Gim Kim connection this week?
Yeah, it's always interesting. I just know that both of them tend to get slapped by the Grim Reaper every now and then. Chan Kim, particularly at Corrales, had one of the most epic implosions that we've seen in a while. Now, does Dougie does he teach him out a Dougie type situation again, or do we get Chan Kim that's lacking confidence? Now, that's the question. Long term, I'm cool with them. They're both very talented golfers. I like the combo. Chan's got tons of distance and Doug's got the great iron play, obviously. So they just need to make a couple putts. That's my biggest concern with Doug Gim is the lack of, explosivity with the putter. But, Chan is going to do his thing. So I think at that price, everyone's going to have warts, especially in this tournament. Under even $8,000 is starting to get a little scary, So the couple big names that you like in the 7K range, I don't mind them.
All right, lock it in. Audience, last chance. Otherwise, we're going to have to stick with the nominations that are in, which will be Ventura and I guess Watney, as obviously Hogue is already gone, so there wouldn't be really another option for you there. So last chance, Hank, Ken, get those picks in. But Lil Kenny, we're going to go back to you here. We'd love to get your take on the Gim Kim selection that we just took here, or I should say Spencer locked in for our squad.
High floor, low ceiling, I think. At 7,800, I think you could do a lot worse. I'd be utterly shocked if they missed the cut. I'd be equally shocked if they were in contention this week. It's just between the two of them, I don't know who's going to putt.
It's fair. Yeah, well, you just gotta hope the ball is so close that you don't need to make many putts, right? You just gotta push it in, and they'll be good. But you have really good ball striking, and you have good talent for the price. So I think it's a fair take. I think we're all kind of in agreement on the team. We're all in a similar spot on them. All right, audience, the pick is going to be locked in here. Coming in at the last second, Andrew on the Højgaard twins. And that's an interesting one. I think that's a more fun pick than the other ones that were an option. So I'm going to, as long as you can they afford it, I think you can. I'm going to give you guys the Hoygaard pick. I'm going to lock it in. Call it a controversy if you want. Audience, you guys got to do a better job getting those picks in. So therefore, I'm just locking that pick in for you. And then you have one more that's between the Ventura and Watney selection. Those are the two nominations on the board. So those are the two we're going to choose between. If someone gives us a second of either of those in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to give it to you. If not, then we're just going to have to lock in the other pick to make sure you guys can actually afford your lineup. So while we wait, we'll go back to you, Kenny. Are you interested in the Hoygaard twins?
I am. I think similar to our Nico Grazerman lineup, like these guys have, I think, a ton of win upside, and like I don't even know if DFL could properly encapsulate what their floor is. Like, these guys could be off the map every other hole. Like they're going to be taking turns. Who's going to be the one punching out of the woods? But again, dude, they both hit nukes. They both like in normal events, like they both have like the ability to just drop a 63 on a Saturday for no reason whatsoever. Like the upside is there. They can get hot. And we talk about team chemistry. I mean, like I'd be pressed to find anybody else in this field that has better chemistry than the biologically identical human beings that are playing golf together. So I like it. I think it's fun. And again, I hope they're in contention because it's going to make watching this a lot of fun. That'll be the storyline of the weekend if they're sniffing the leaderboard. So I'm all in. I think the two of them are a lot of fun and are just big value add to the game.
I think you nailed it. The nature of this whole tournament is fun. I think that was a fun pick. I think they're a fun team to root for. I think it's an interesting pick. I think there's some upside there. So for the audience, Andrew, you're the savior. Andrew came in late to the draft, brought in a really fun pick, and then he seconded Ventura to lock in the audience next pick. So, Andrew, you've now been named captain of team audience. Great job. The pick is in with Ventura-Rosner combo, one that you should be able to afford at only $6,800. I don't know how much I love their upside. Not a combo I was really interested in, but I totally understand the pick in that you guys got to find a salary saver. And for finding someone down in the 6K range, that's one of the 6K options that probably makes the most sense. So I get it from that perspective. Byron, we'll go to you on that one. Are you interested at all in the Rosner Ventura team?
I love Anton is such a good long iron player, man. And Ventura can drive the absolute piss out of the golf ball. But before I continue about those two, I just want to point out that Joel once again took a $9,100 team and shoved it onto the audience side so that they didn't snag a cheaper option. Just keeping, trying to make you think that things are going good for you guys while also still preserving the $76,050 that he needs in that range. So Joel is the ultimate con man over here. It's do not get catfished by this man, people. I want to warn you this. But Rosner and Ventura are I love their combo, especially in round 2 showdown. I have them slated big time for that. Their alt shot ranking for me is 9th and their best ball ranking is 50th. So the way they can, ham and egg this thing is it's Dr. Seuss-esque, if you ask me. So it's gonna be good stuff if you watch them on round 2.
All right. There you have it. And I'll add, in my own defense, Byron, a wise man once told me, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I'm just trying. That's all I'm doing. All right. We are back up with our 5th pick here. All right. I had said we had a strategy going into the draft. We've now taken 4 picks and haven't used my strategy once for any of the picks. So we're doing it here, Spence. Our strategy is one of us has to give the other one 3 nominations and the other one makes the pick. You can pick which side of that you want to be on. You want me to give you 3 nominations and you make the pick, or do you want to give 3 nominations and I make the pick? You tell me which one you want. We'll go that route.
I'll play the dangerous game here. I'll let you give me 3 nominations and we'll go from there.
Wow. It put a lot of pressure on me. I wasn't prepared for that. I thought we were going to go the other way, but it's okay. All right. The first one I know is definitely the one I'm going to be considering is a guy who I've been playing a lot recently, and that's Bud Cauley, who's just been in great form.
Joel, stop there. We're going to go with Bud Cauley. That's one of the things I was going to give you. That works.
Okay. Apparently, my strategy of how we were going to do this show and draft is just never going to. This is not. We're not going to get one pick when we give nominations. But Cauley was someone I've been eyeing for a few rounds. He's only 7,300. Clearly, he's going to have a lot of upside here. I think the real question is more going to be like, how much you can say about Collie. If you follow our show, been following golf, you know he's playing really well. The question really is going to be more around his partner. Are you interested at all? Or I guess we are interested, but do you have any confidence in Kevin Tway? And do you think they're a good yin yang? You know, Tway does tend or has been able to find a hot putter from here to there. Do you think that will be a nice yin yang for Collie? And if Tway can sink some putts and help propel them to a top 10 or 20 finish?
I mean, confidence, no, but what I will say about Kevin Tway is he's inside of the top 30 of my model in this field for strokes gained around the green. He's inside the top 10 around the green at Pete Dye courses. So we know that Bud Cauley, like his weighted proximity for me, there's a lot of shots from 200 plus. I understand that that's not going to look good in a model, but 22nd in projected proximity for me as far as Cauley goes. And then I think Tway has the short game to be able to clean a lot of that up. Tway is 8th in my model in GIR percentage and kind of has some interesting stats behind him, like 20th for me in overall bogey avoidance. I think that works a little bit well for him in alternate shot. Some of the overall totals when we look at comp courses, so that's like strokes gained total on long courses, he's inside of the top 10 for me. That's another area where Cauley's inside the top 10. So I think it's a really boom or bust profile from Tway, but I do believe that it presents a bit of an upside here on a golfer that I know, Joel, you and I have consistently probably liked Cauley more than most people in the space. I feel like we play him almost every single week that one of us takes him. So I like the Cauley play. We will play by the rules next time. I'll let you give me 3 names next time and we'll round it out. But I just wanted to make sure that we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot for the last pick.
Boo, I love it. I'm glad we actually got him on our team. I've been sad if we ended up missing out on that because I'm with you. And your explanation there kind of sold me on Tway. I mean, you made Tway sound better than I was anticipating. So if you get a little extra edge at a Tway, I think there's some upside there at only 7,300. Could be an under price. I would love to hear from you, Kenny. Are you interested at all in the Bud Cauley Tway combo? And then you guys got 2 from there.
Yeah, we were going to take them. That's why I don't know if you can see
wow,
reaction as you said it. More so on the Bud Cauley hype, but again, I think another pair that really should yin and yang very, very well here. Kevin Tway, not a legend of the PGA Tour, but like he does one thing really well, and that's he just nukes driver dead straight down the middle. So he's going to be the muscle of this group. And then Bud Cauley's been one of the best iron players on tour this year, and I think even more so one of the better stories on tour this year, given the comeback story and everything that he's gone through. So I think it's a really good you sort of mix and match in terms of player skill sets for this. And we were going to take him with one of our last 2 picks. So very, very much in favor of this.
Well, I'm proud. I'm glad we got a steal. That makes me feel good. And we were able to get it before you guys were able to take him with your last 2. But nonetheless, you have 2 left. You have about 7,900 per pick. So plenty to spend. How are you guys going to round out your squad?
Byron, you get the first one. Do the first one you sent me.
I'm going to give you guys a set of dudes that have ham and egg potential for days. You could do a buffet with these boys. Jesper Svensson and Niklas Norgard. These 2 dudes, when you take a look at their skill sets, it's incredible. Norgard, sensational with the long irons. 200 plus, this guy is dialed the hell in. Svensson loses. Like he's below average in that department. So if Norgard's hitting the long iron approach shots, we are Gucci because Svensson can hit nukes off the tee and he can chip and putt. Like he's got upside short game for days when Norgard can chip himself out of tournaments. So I think the combination there is amazing, and they're fairly reasonably priced. Niklas Norgard was one of the top DP World Tour guys coming over. They're both obviously DP World Tour card getters through that tour to get onto the PGA Tour. So both Euros obviously played lots of golf together, and I think their skill set is quite similar. You could expect them to be hitting a lot of shots from the same proximities that they find themselves hitting because they are just tanks off the tee, obviously, with some variations there. So love that combo. Also have bet them to win this tournament.
Ooh, all right. Off the board. I love it. Okay, we'll go back to you. You're going to be taking the last pick, but are you happy with your partner's pick first?
Absolutely. I really can't say much more than Byron already said. I think the upside here is off the charts, and I think the makeup of our team is like every single pair in our lineup here, I think has a lot of win equity. And I think they've got very, very low floors as well. So we're either shipping a GPP or we're going to go broke. And at the end of the day, we're in this to make money. So I love it. And dude, it's Byron. He could sell me on John Daly and Sandy Lyle in this event.
Well, John Daly's up. No, just
All right. Well, locked in. You got one left, 7,300 to spend. How are you closing out the squad?
So I may have misspoke earlier when we were talking about the Hogarth twins. I said that they are probably the most obvious chemistry match of any other pair in this field. And technically that might not be true because I forgot we have another set of identical twins in this field, and that is Jeremy and Yannick Paul, 7,300. I love this. And look, I don't believe either of them ever played in this event before. I'm sure they've played in plenty of, big brother, little brother matches throughout their career, but both coming in hot. Yannick just took, I think, third. Yeah, he just took third in China at the Volvo, and Jeremy Paul just finished tied for second last week at the what was it, Corrales? What was the secondary event? Was it Corrales last week? Yeah. So, but both coming in hot. I think both coming in to prove each other which brother's on the better tour. And I just I'm a sucker for a storyline and some chemistry. So Jeremy and Yannick Paul, 7,300.
The most famous Paul brothers in the world. I can't think of any other Paul brothers that anyone would have any interest in. So there you have it. I mean, you guys got the chemistry. You got the Paul brothers. Spence, I'd love to hear from you. Are you interested in the Paul duo this week?
I really like the way that they rounded out their lineup with both of the two selections. So one of the things that I wrote about this week, just to go back to the Svensson and Norgard pick, they're probably my favorite value on the board of any team that's $8,000 and up. Like, if I had the ability to, I'm going to do the one thing you shouldn't do on a show and probably give like an entire lineup away of like, what would my optimal lineup be? But I think it's fine doing it since we're not actually entering this into a contest. But I would have probably taken like Wyndham, Clark, Taylor, Moore, Svensson, Norgard, Horschel, Hoagie. I guess we could stop there. But like those would have been the three teams that I would have been trying to build around. So I really like the Svensson Norgard pick. That would leave you with, just if anybody out there is doing math, about 7,500 per pick after that. So it kind of puts you right in that range of the Collies of the world. And I mean, all those names in there. So I really like those two selections from them. I thought it was very savvy.
Boom. Locked it in. Of course, don't forget, we're going to vote. We're going to let us know which teams you think are going to win. We're going to crown a champion at the end of the tournament. And of course, we'll do it again next week. But we have two more picks. Audience, Andrew is the newly appointed captain. After Spencer and I pick, you guys have your last pick. You have 7,700 to spend. We might take someone there, but you know what? If you steal one of the ones that we don't take, I'm okay with it because it's the last pick of the draft. So Andrew, Ken, Hank, start getting whatever nominations in for your last pick. Spence, I have our nominations for who I am thinking for our final selection, and then you tell me which one you want to go with. Perfect. So the first one I definitely want to put on the board for us is the combination of course, Sam Ryder and Rico Hoey. They're 7,900. We can afford them. Everyone knows I love Sam Ryder. I'm always playing him. Rico's ball striking stuff. I think they're a really good yin-yang from the fact of you'll get the ball striking from Rico, you'll get the putting and the around the green game from Ryder. I think that could be an interesting pairing there. I also think another interesting one that I'm surprised a little bit that Byron didn't go after is Eric Van Rooyen and Christian Bezuidenhout. I think they're a really interesting duo. No, don't like them.
Dude, Bezzy, since he's gone, changed the irons and stuff, it's been bad, dude. It's been very bad. Like he's lucky he's got a good short game because he's not going to set. He needs to make birdies and he's just not doing it right now. So I'm out.
So I would agree with that, but I think my counter is, and I guess in the most recent last 2 weeks, Van Rooyen hasn't been his best, but over the more longer term, Van Rooyen's been striking it well. And is that the yin yang you're looking for, where Bezzy's short game kind of carries it and Van Rooyen can do the ball striking? Is that yin yang going to come through? You just think Bezzy's just form isn't there?
Yeah, I just don't trust my guy right now.
Right.
The rat poison's coming back to bite him again. I don't know what's going on, but
I want to reinforce my nomination. Spence, do with that as you will. You're going to make the final call here. I've given you two, so I gotta nail down one more, and I'm between two. Can I give four for you to choose from? Is that allowed?
Just give me four.
Okay. So I'm going to definitely do the Vegas.
Give him six, Joel.
Yeah, 4. I'll limit myself. I mean, I can do 20 because I could just keep going, but I won't. I'm going to stick it to 4. I'm going to do Vegas and Kevin Yu. Now, they're not a yin yang group. I don't know who's going to make putts, but I think they're both better golfers than the price that they're at. I think as a team, they can really strike the ball and get hot. So I just like that team at 7,900. The one that I couldn't get off of or couldn't move on without us at least putting out there for potential selection is Jacob Bridgman and Chandler Phillips, who are 7,600. So those are the 4 Spence. You got to pick one.
Damn, no love for Max McGreevy.
What was that?
No love for Max McGreevy and Sam Stevens sitting there at 78.
I did look at that. It got to a point where it's like I was eventually going to just name every team that was in that. So I had to just stop. I did look at them though, and they were close to being one of the teams I put. I had to make a tough choice there.
So of those, I will give you my rankings of where I have each one of those teams. So I have Sam Ryder and Rico Hoey 14th in my model. So 7 spots of value compared to what their price tag is. I have Kevin Yu and Vegas 1 spot higher than that. So right next to one another, or lower, they're worse is the better way to explain that. Bezuidenhout and Van Rooyen would be the worst of the group. I still have them as a very slight value. They're 22nd in my model. And then Bridgman and Phillips is a spot behind Vegas and you. So, I mean, you essentially, Joel, gave me what would be the 3 most optimal teams there according to my model in this spot. I don't have a massive take one way or another. You could honestly sell me on either one of those spots. If I'm going based off of my model, I will say Sam Ryder and Rico Hoey, but I really don't have a strong lean one way or another. I think there are 4 very quality choices where I would probably say I agree more so with Byron, where Bezuidenhout and Van Rooyen would be a little bit couple of slots behind them.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do for now, let's lock in the pick. I agree with you. Let's lock in the Rico and Ryder pick. The other one I just wanted to mention down there, and audience, good job getting the nominations in. If anyone else wants to weigh in or last chance to add to the team, do it now while we discuss this pick. You have about 10, 15 more seconds before we finalize the roster. I did want to mention who didn't get mentioned or who didn't get nominated in this spot. The team of Alex Smalley and Joseph Bramlett, because I think they're an interesting team. Obviously, they didn't get brought up at all on our show, but I'd love to know we'll go with you, Byron. Is that a combo that you're interested in this week?
Oh, the Joseph Bramlett take is interesting because this isn't Torrey Pines or it's like not a bomber's paradise, you know. So I love him at Mexico, at Torrey, you know, those kind of places. This week, it's fine. Smalley, obviously, dude, guy is one of the best iron players in the world at the moment, and it's incredible to see. But I'm more worried about the Bramlett side of that equation than Smalley. You know, if it was a single event, I think I'm all in on Smalley. I
would 100% agree with you. The Bramlett side is the more concerning one. And he did get 3rd in Puerto Rico, so I mean, it's something. So it's it's something there, and it's a team event, so it's not all on him. But that had me intrigued. How about you, Kenny? Are you interested in the both Ryder and Hoey combo or the Smalley and Bramlett combo?
Definitely not in the Smalley and Bramlett combo. I have this rule where I don't bet on golfers who don't have the ability to win golf tournaments. You got to draw the line somewhere, and I don't see either of those guys ever just closing the door and winning a golf tournament. And I'm with Byron too. If Bramlett, you play him at Mexico, play him at like the 3M, somewhere where you can just go down there and rip driver. Yeah, you can kind of get away with it here a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think Bramlett's very good. Smalley, I think, has all the talent in the world. It seems like a really nice guy. Like I don't necessarily root against him. There's a selection of guys that have the talent and then just don't have it between the years when it gets to a Sunday. And I feel like I do have a good pulse for guys like that. And just go watch one Alex Smalley interview and tell me if you think that's a guy that is waking up confident on a Sunday morning. So again, nice guy, not picking on him, but he will never get any of my money.
So you're saying Smalley is a mental Smalley?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Audience, great job locking in that last pick. Bridgman, it is. The squads are like, and you know what? I think all three of these squads are solid. I think any of them can actually win. I think it'll be an exciting week, and I'm excited to break it down. But don't forget, smash the like button, give us a follow. It goes a long way. Let us know which team you think is going to win. Who are you voting for? We're coming back next week and crowning a king of the draft. And then, of course, we're going to do it all over again. Before we get you out of here tonight, I want to go back around. I'll start with you, Spencer. Is there any team that you are surprised did not get taken tonight?
Not necessarily surprised, but I am sad to see that Wyndham Clark and Taylor Moore weren't selected. One of the ways that I ran my model this week is I graded everybody as a team. I graded them individually, and then I graded them a third way to see what golfer that when you threw them with different pairings made the most impact to a team. So, different traits ended up weighing into that mix. So naturally, Rory McIlroy, you throw him with everybody. That was the best pairing that you could have. Second was Colin Morikawa. Wyndham Clark was the third best option you could throw with somebody this week. And just to throw this out there, one of the reasons why I like the Horschel and Hoagie pairing so much is Hoagie was fourth for me. And a lot of that has to do with the iron play that he brings to the mix. But little disappointed to see that nobody took Wyndham Clark and Taylor Moore.
Fair enough. Kenny, we'll go to you. Is there any team you're surprised or you thought would have been drafted tonight?
I'm reading the chat here. Excuse me. Andrew Beckta just said, I'm surprised that Carl Phillips and Toasty were not selected. I had no idea that they were playing together. It's Carl Phillips and Toasty are pairing for this.
Spicy.
I feel like if I knew that, I would have gone. They would have been our first pick. I would have taken them round one, pick number one. That is a spicy duo right there. But not really. Like again, I think for this event, man, like there's just so many directions that you could go.
Wait, I think we have to make a correction. If I'm reading it correctly, I think Toasty's playing with Highsmith and Phillips is playing with Thorbenson. Is that correct?
Okay, that makes sense. That's starting to ring it. That because I feel like if I saw those as a pairing, it would have registered in the memory here. But dude, it's a weird week. You can talk me into anybody. I thought you'd see a little more Bobby Mack and Dietrich, just two guys that are, top 60 players in the world. I believe they played this event together last year as well, so there is a little bit of chemistry there. I'm surprised to see that they didn't go. And again, I mean, Morikawa and Kitty, just from the name value alone, I thought we would have seen go. I wouldn't have picked them, but again, totally could have seen it.
Cool. All right. How about you, Byron? What team or squad are you surprised did not go in the draft?
I think, the Fitz brothers is I love the brotherhood. Yeah. This is the brotherhood of the traveling pans to TPC Louisiana is quite a fun journey to follow. So Fitzy's, they're interesting. Matt just coming out of Harbor Town. You never know what that can do for the guy. He's been playing atrocious this year, but played really well at Harbor Town. He always does. So I don't know if that's going to translate to this week, but I think they're going to be quite a popular click just because the brother thing, and Fitz is quite a, well-known name. So I think that's one that stuck out for me.
And he's starting to play better golf. So I think that's an interesting one. What I have to put out there, and if you guys follow our show, this is a golfer that I take an inordinate amount, and it's obviously starting to pay off. I can't believe not only did he not get drafted, he wasn't even mentioned on our show, which is a shame because he is coming with pretty high ownership. And that's the team of Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin. Andrew Novak has been insane. And I don't know why the betting and the whole golf world is so disrespectful toward him. His lines are always like, this week they've priced him up to 9,700, which is where he should be for this week. But up until this week, he had this every week. They have him in the low 7K range. They're not coming around him. He's been consistently really good for a long period of time. So Andrew Novak, if you guys watched our show for a while, Sia Nejad used to come on, and he used to have a theory that guys who have boring names that get overlooked because their names are boring. And maybe that's the case with Novak. He's got a boring name, so people just kind of overlook him. But he's playing spectacular golf right now. 2 top 5s in a row. I mean, obviously almost won last week. He took JT to overtime. I think Andrew Novak's on the verge of becoming one of the more elite talents on tour. And it's time to start getting on board before the price adjusts, and he's going to be up in the 8 or 9K range every week. The fact that, this week in the team ran he's the 9K range, but before this week, he was still in the 7Ks. I mean, that's something to take advantage of. So I love Andrew Novak. I love the way his game looks right now. I think that's a team that can certainly make some noise this week. If we didn't take Rory first, we probably would have taken him, but it's hard to afford a lineup with Novak and Rory, so we had to kind of pick one of the two. But yeah, that's definitely one I want to make sure was mentioned on our show this week.
I feel bad for him, dude. He missed that putter on 18 by like 6 feet. Like it was off the second it hit the club face. Like for his sake, I wanted him to make it. I didn't have any JT action, so I didn't really care. I think he had his entire family there. That putt, like no putt has ever had less of a chance of going in than that Novak putt that went on 18.
Is Andrew Novak on your team of people that can't win a golf tournament?
Not quite, because he hasn't been in the mix enough for me on Sunday to see him crumble. Every time he's in the mix, I feel like he plays okay. He had the magic beans on Sunday. I mean, he hit 3 tee shots that should have gone out of bounds, and all 3 of them careened off patrons and trees and other obstacles, and all magically landed back in the fairway. So he got all the lucky breaks he needed to win that tournament. He couldn't close it out.
Yeah, well, I think I'm telling you, I am confident he pulls one out at some point this year and gets a victory on tour in the 2025 season. So I'm betting on Andrew Novak. I love him. Before we get out of here tonight, one last go round. Each of you, starting with you, Spence, give us your bet of the week.
I'm going to give 2 matchups. They're very close. I can't really decide between the 2. So Ryan Gerard, Danny Walker over Pavon and Perez. You can get that at about -129. And then Cauley and Tway over Hostler and Putnam. You can get that at -120.
Boom. All right. There you have it. Kenny, to you, you have a bet of the week for us.
Yeah, it's a very, very easy one. You can already, if you have any big purchases you need to make, you've been saving money for, I would preemptively buy them because you have the winnings to do it. Tom Hoagie and Billy Horschel outright. They are winning this tournament.
Boom. Lock it in. I love it. Byron, how about you? What's your bet of the week?
All right. So this is the week for the Chilean to come through for me. Cristobal Del Solar, Matteo Manacero. First round leader.
Yes.
There's 90 to 1s. There's 150 to 1s. Cristobal Del Solar on the KFT, man. If you take a look at those first round metrics, it's absurd. And now he's got he's playing with house money. So I think could see that round we've been waiting for all year long. So nice number in a field that's not necessarily giving you that good odds for the first round market.
I love it. I love that play. For mine, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to bet on Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin to give you a top 5 at +400. So I don't even have to win, but I think they get us in the top 5. +400 is a really good number on that. I'm excited for this week, but really, let me take a step back. We're super appreciative of both Kenny and Byron for coming on, drafting with us tonight. I had a ton of fun. I hope you guys did too. Before we get you out of here, we'll start with you, Kenny. Where can people find you this week? What other shows are you doing? What are you promoting? Floor is yours.
Yeah, man. You can my name on here, Kill Kenny. You can just follow me on Twitter. I'm that on virtually every social. I used to stream frequently on Twitch. Lately, I've been streaming on Twitter just because the viewership is much better. And then if you want to join my Discord, the link is in my bio. But appreciate you guys having me on. You guys do some great work, and hope to talk to you guys again sometime.
We'd love to have you on again, especially if you beat us. We'll have to have you on again to get you dethroned, but we appreciate you. Your insights were fantastic. How about you, Byron?
You can find all my shows on the Mayor Media Network. So I'm so excited for you guys to be on here with me now. It's going to be great going forward. And then just grab, all my stuff in my Patreon at TheModelManiac, where you can use all my tools and fun stuff going on over there.
Or just do what I do and just DM Byron for wind reports.
Ooh. You have it. DM him directly. They're both super sharp. If you follow them, if you don't follow them already, make sure you give both Kenny and Byron a follow. You're going to get some great insights. You will certainly win some more bets by following their bets and information. Of course, you always have Spencer and I. We'll be back next Tuesday night, as we always are, drafting with you guys. And we're going to crown a new champion again next week. Smash that like button. Give us all a follow. It goes a long way. Spence, did I forget anything?
No, thank you for everybody who did tune in today. As Joel said, you can find him on Twitter at DraftMasterFlex. You can find me on Twitter at TeeOffSports. And we will see everybody back here again next week.
All right. Appreciate you.